Oh no.
Release us.
Oh no.
Release us. Set us free.
All right, everybody. Well,
Hi, we're starting this the same way we started the last one, with all of us laughing. Yeah, so I went live and then got my button stuck in my hair, so that's how this is going to go today. Welcome to TTRPG, a network for mostly marginalized genders and marginalized creators of all sorts. And I'm going to let Riley take it away from there.
Hi, welcome back to episode 2 of Avatar Reclamation. Just gonna go around quickly and do the streamer thing, have everybody introduce themselves real quick, get you to know our players. We got a couple new ones this week, and they're permanent. So hi, I'm Riley. I'm GMing this shindig, and you can find me at Riley Gritch, that's RILEYGRYC on Twitch and Twitter. Take it away, Jay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jay, or Nala. I use both. I use they, them pronouns, and I am at Nala Woo and at Nala Draws if you want to see my art on Twitter. Oh, and I'm playing Cho Yu, who uses they, he pronouns.
Now who goes, Jay?
Christiana, go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Christiana. I'm at Carpe Christie on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Satya, who uses also she, her pronouns. Go ahead, Nikki.
I wasn't ready. I'm Nikki. I use she, her pronouns. I am an educator. I teach 5th grade. I am also an LGBTQ and disability advocate for teachers, especially new teachers. And you can follow me everywhere online as halfling_Nikki. That's TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Oh, and I'm playing Junsho, and she is the twin sister of our Beefcake, and so I'm gonna call on you next.
Yay! Hi, everybody. My name's Ellis. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Heckvetica. It's kind of like a more family-friendly Helvetica, where I talk about TTRPGs and UI and UX design. I'm happy to be playing Shoza, Junsho's non-binary twin, here in our Avatar game, where it's like Avatar The Last Airbender, but we say fuck. And I'll pass it off to Maya. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Maya. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on the interwebs at Anxious Maya on Twitter and Twitch, although I am on a break from Twitch right now, but I'm just throwing that out there. And if you're at all interested in Critical Role, you can find me at Crit Roll Memes on Twitter or Critical Role Memes on Instagram, where I post terrible memes all the time. And I am playing Ji Young, G for short, who is a tall, beautiful lady. She's got big muscles. Hell yeah. Let's go.
I love her.
Excellent. We begin with a little bit of a montage. Up in the hills, surrounding Omashu, the great walled, cake-like city of the Earth Kingdom, we see Choyu throwing boulders with earthbending, just letting out anger and sadness and a whole swath of emotions. We see the memories of Fior, the happy times going, mostly, and then we see the great betrayal that was executed on the deck of the airship that's been put together. And probably at that point, the boulder which Choyu has been practicing with splinters into a billion pieces out of frustration and anguish. And we leap a week forward in time. We leap a week forward in time to 2 intrepid travelers entering into the city of Omashu for the first time. We see the great chutes and carts of stone carrying various supplies up and down the streets. We see the bustling folks attempting to fix and do the city's repairs and bring it back to full restoration after its occupation by the Fire Nation some years ago. And how about Maya and Christiana? You give us what your characters look like and how they enter the city.
Let's go. Christiana, do you want to go first or should I?
You go first.
Okay. So Ji Young is a 6'4" woman with long, straight, dark hair. She is very like muscular in that way that like track athletes are, where it's just sort of like their whole body is like rope. And she has on like a dark lip and some striking eyeliner. And she walks just like to the side and like just ever so slightly behind the person that she's walking with, will be described in a moment. And I think the way she enters is she's really just like, she's just taking in everything as much as she can. She's just looking around. She looks calm, but her eyes are very sharp. She's taking in all the details.
And walking, I guess, in front of her and to the side is Satya. She stands at 5 feet tall, and she has still sort of a looming presence. She's not taking in everything. She's looking straight ahead and walking, and with as much purpose and passion, I guess, as you can. She is dressed pretty simply and just has a couple gold accents on her, and has short, dark hair that she puts in like a little half bun at the top to keep out of her face mostly. And yeah, is pretty confident looking in the way that she just strides forward.
And the two make their way up the streets of Omashu through the various earth mine carts and trolleys that the city has now implemented until you reach a higher footpath, the highest central peak at the very tip top. I imagine you would be going to the palace first since you're in town? Yes, okay. I just wanted to check on that assumption. It's not the old palace of King Bumi's time. That was completely rendered to the ground by the Fire Nation during their occupation. And when the Fire Nation came in, they started erecting a new, much more Fire Nation style palace at the top, made of metal. One of the first things a certain blind and very talented earthbender did when she made her way back to the city for the first time was to crumple it to the ground and essentially toss it to the side. So the current palace is somewhere between trying to reclaim that old Earth Kingdom style and what you saw when the gang first met Bumi in those long hallways with the giant corridors, and also integrating some more modern things, some more, not Fire Nation, but more conglomerated. The city is clearly in a sort of integration period, and the palace, still a work in progress, reflects that style. But sweeping into the still being worked on by earthbenders as we speak, you see a woman who you are very familiar with, Satya, at the end of the hall, and she's quietly directing everyone to like do the work, not in a commanding way, but a suggestive way, just sort of being, and maybe we can get some florals over here. I'm not sure how to, and just out of the corner sees who's coming and immediately sweeps, like not rudely, but just excuse me, and just goes as quickly as she can, slightly earthbending her way over, so sort of rolling on the ground to just sweep you up and give you a big hug.
Yeah. And there's no formality, there's no bowing or anything.
No.
It's just Auntie, and just
Yep.
big hugs and all of that.
She's like, oh, Satya, I was so worried when we hadn't received any news from the countryside. Are your parents well?
Oh, I guess it's been a while since we've talked. My mom didn't survive the trip. But my dad remarried shortly after, and he has two little ones now. He remarried someone from, I don't even know her, someone from the Fire Nation.
Oh,
And
well.
yeah, I left shortly after as well. So, I mean, I know they're well. So, I mean, you can talk to them if you want, but I truly don't know the ins and outs of what's going on over there. It's been a little bit.
Understandably, I'm terribly sorry that. Where are my manners? Would you like to have some tea? And sort of gestures to her room. And as she gestures, like part of the wall just slinks down into the ground.
Cool. Yeah. And also, I would love to introduce you to my companion. This is Ji Young.
Hello, Your Majesty. It's a pleasure.
She bows incredibly deeply. She's like,
I go deep too.
she sees this and goes slightly deeper.
I go a little deeper.
And then there's like a moment where you both are like at your centers of gravity and like nearing tipping over. And she just sweeps up. Any friend of Satya's is a friend of mine. Please, of course. Guards, tea, please. And just, again, sweeps on that little lump of earth right into the room, conjures an earthen couch from the ground itself, conjures a table, just sweeping it up, and conjures two chairs for you to sit across from her as she just sort of lounges on the couch.
Yeah, Satya's not fazed by this.
She's like, her eyes are a little bit big, but she's trying to hide it. And she's just following Satya.
That's fair. As soon as the pair of you are set, the palace guards have come and have already set out as much of a tea set as you could possibly imagine. And Her Highness, I suppose, then immediately goes to start making her tea and pouring some for both of you. She doesn't do that with her hands. She simply bends the earthen clay and just very carefully, like she's just bending these into your hands with tea into them and speaking at the same time. Was it a long travel or was it a far travel? Or are you in need of rest? Are you here to see your betrothed?
A little bit of everything. I was also hoping you had some rice balls.
Rice balls, of course. And she just very kindly, would you? Yes. Okay.
I haven't actually talked to them in a while. How are they?
Oh, I wouldn't have the foggiest. Unfortunately, they haven't been to visit since they've been back, though I have gotten word that they might be somewhere in the Hill District, the first Hill District, not the second one. They always had taste.
Okay. Well, G, what do you think about maybe going to find them?
I go where you go.
Okay. But other than that, I think we're okay. We're just passing through. No need for rest. We take our rest when it's appropriate. So we're just traveling this morning, and we'll find them and probably catch up for a little bit. But I thank you so much for your hospitality.
Of course.
I've missed it.
I've missed you as well. Oh, here's the rice balls. And as they sweep into the room, rice balls, I imagine you stay a few minutes longer just to be polite and have a rice ball. Who doesn't want a rice ball? Before the camera kind of pans back from that scene out of the palace itself and pivots towards that first right hill in Omashu. And we zoom along and crash into a flat, an apartment that's been rented. and we just see Shoza in the corner, like, yeah. You want to take it from there, gang?
Yeah. Are we? So I assume all three of us are in here, unless anyone else wants to.
How would you three like to set the scene? Let's ask that.
What time of day is it?
It's about mid-morning. It's like, oh gosh, like
Is it after 10
11-ish,
a.m.?
11:30.
Okay. In that case, Junsho is awake.
Yeah, I think if it's after 10 a.m., Shozo has been awake for a while. Even with even like not necessarily being on the ship and like needing to wake up to stoke the engines or whatever, like they still just have their like internal clock. And I think they've brought technically June's turtle duck off the ship with them, and it's sitting in like a little like bowl of water, just like floating around in circles, and shows us just like looking at it and then like trying to get its attention, and then when it looks at them, they're like, okay, all right, we got this, we're gonna do this, so you're gonna do one of these, and it's just like meh. And then be like, okay, all right, so give me one of these, and it's like meh, meh. And Shows just shakes their head. Oh, Dumpling, we're gonna get this. We're gonna figure it out. You and me. I know it.
I have a question / suggestion.
I have an answer / whatever the opposite of suggestion. I don't know. Shoot.
So this apartment, did we like rent this? Because I know that I have an apartment in the city that's not the palace. Could I have brought them there instead?
That is the assumption I had been operating under. Yes.
Okay, cool. So I brought them back to my apartment, and there's like probably a guest room that the two of them are in, and then I have my bedroom or whatever in there. And I think it's like 10, but I haven't come out of my room yet. I think I've been just very generally malaise. And I think I'm awake, but I'm just like in my bed, probably trying to read something, because I have probably a lot of my books in this room and I'm just reading something. But I don't come out, and I haven't really eaten anything at all today yet.
Understandable. What about Junsho?
She is currently going through all of the cabinets to see what kind of stuff Chuyo has. She's just like on her tippy toes, like looking in on everything, climbing on counters to look in top cabinets, and like just generally getting into things, eating whatever snacks are there, making herself at home, having some tea, throwing cool things she finds into her bag of like things that she could use to build stuff with. Like she's like, oh, this is useful for building things on the boat, and just like starts bagging things. Chuyo is rich; they can replace this. Just starts like taking their stuff.
I think that's so funny. Like after me telling you, because we're like somehow we dragged this boat back. I'm assuming I used earthbending or something to help us drag this entire boat back to the whatever dry dock. Like I don't even know where it goes.
So I actually do have an answer for this. When the Air Nation, not the Air Nation. Oh, wrong.
Good one.
We're not there yet. When the Fire Nation began its occupation, they did install tethers and docks for airships to come in.
Mm-hmm.
That infrastructure was not removed because airships have become a very normalized way of travel in this day and age. So I imagine it's been put in the equivalent of a dry dock insofar as it's being worked on one of these piers, so to speak. and it's no longer floating because of the damage that it sustained, but it's being worked on by a crew that paid.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But on the way back, I told both Shodza and Junsho about the truth about everything, and Choyu feels terrible about everything, by the way. And I just like how Junsho is just like doing this because Choyu wouldn't care. I think normally they would care, but they feel so terrible right now. They're not even gonna say anything.
Yeah, the first thing the first thing Junsho said when she found out that Chuyo is royalty and rich and famous and stuff was, "Oh, cool. Can you introduce me to insert like famous Earthbender inventor, like Earth Nation inventor, Earth Kingdom inventor?" So like her whole thing now is like, "Awesome. You've got useful shit. I'm gonna take it."
What are some of the things that Junsho might find in Choyu's apartment?
Ooh, okay. I think I have a lot of stuff, just in general. I don't think Choyu is one of those, like, minimalist kind of rich people. Like, it doesn't really seem like them. I think they're a very sentimental person, so they have a lot of stuff from their childhood, that they've removed from their, like, palace quarters and just, like, shoved it all in this apartment, because I'm pretty sure their mom and dad were like, hey, you gotta get rid of some of this stuff. And Choyu was like, yeah, sure, I'll get rid of it, but then they just stick it in their apartment. And so I think there's lots of stuff. Like, I think growing up I had a lot of random hobbies that I started trying various things. So you would find probably some, like, I don't even know, like clay from sculpting, some random pottery bits things that I've made, some sculpture things. I probably was starting to get into like tinkering things, so you probably find stuff that actually would be useful for you, stuff that I haven't touched in years, but I wanted to keep it because I'm really bad at throwing stuff out. I think there's like the actual apartment is very clean, but there's like that one closet you open and everything's in there. So like you're raiding my closet.
That's what you hear from like your room is just a as everything falls out of the closet.
I like to imagine the closet is like shares a wall with my bedroom. So I hear I'm sitting there reading, hearing you going through all my stuff. And yeah, that's kind of you find a lot of my art actually. Old art, questionable art. Also a lot of calligraphy. Oh, questionable as in bad, not the other kind of questionable. Calligraphy. I think that's a lot of lots of calligraphy practice pages. I'm not sure in what context you would have seen my handwriting, but Choyu has beautiful handwriting. But you can see all of these like repetitive practice pages learning to write characters and script and whatnot. What else? Like random clothes? Like I don't know. I'm just so bad at throwing stuff out.
No,
So,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Does any of those appeal to Junsho for like tinkering or interest in?
She takes all the tinkering stuff. She looks for like ink that she can take because she writes a lot of her own schematics and stuff. Any good paper she will take. And then she steals all of Chuyo's best tea. Just like,
yeah,
we're going to have this on the boat now. We're not going to let Shoza touch it.
You know, I think I would have given that to you anyways, but also like I think you find some tea that is like just like really expensive or really hard to find or something, and you're like
basically.
That's fair. It's at that point that you would hear a knock on the door to the apartment.
Shoza throws their hands up and looks at Dumpling. You're hopeless. I don't know what to do with you. And then they turn around and you hear like a little whack, and they turn around. They walk over to Chuyu's door, and they give like the tiniest little knock. You got people. There's someone knocks on your door. Not this one. Someone knocked at the other door.
What?
There's somebody outside. there's somebody. I'm gonna open it, and Shows just opens your bedroom door. There's somebody at your front door.
I'm sitting on my bed, like the other side of my bed, because I think my bed fits 2 people, has just tons of scrolls and books, like in that spot that I've been sort of reading. And I'm sitting there, probably shirtless again, wearing whatever pants that I wear to bed. Hair is a mess. And I frankly don't look great, but I put down what I'm reading and I
Whoa,
put on some robe and just
kind of a smell in here. Should probably air this place out a little bit. When was the last time you left? I haven't seen you leave. You should come outside more.
If Shoza tells you you're stinky, you're really stinky.
I wave my hand and I think I just like cut like a window, just literally a giant window in this place, and there's a breeze that starts coming in, and I don't say anything to what you just said, but I put on a robe and I leave and I walk to my door.
Shoza is now just going to walk around your room while all of this is happening.
That's fair. As you're walking around the room and as the window is opened, you hear just somebody outside on the street passing by. What is that smell? And you go to the front door and you open it, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Standing there before you is a woman you're familiar with, around your age, maybe a little bit younger, hair up in a very tight bun, and a lot of soot and like grime on her like work clothes. And this is Izuko, who you had contracted to fix the airship.
Mm-hmm.
She's just sort of standing there. Hi, just wanted to give an update. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
And she just does like a long, slow look up and down.
I pull my robe tighter across my body and just cross, like my arms are just crossed in front of me. I say, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, the repairs are almost done on the airship. We've hit a bit of a snag, though. Part of it exploded.
I know. Or more?
Yeah. Yeah, a new part exploded. Not the part you exploded, a new part exploded.
Jun?
It has a very unique setup that we're not very familiar with. It's a very custom job.
I pull the door open wider, because I think I opened it just so that I was standing there. I pull the door open wider and step aside, and I look for June, who's probably stuffing the tea in her bag.
It's that cartoon cutover where I'm literally like holding in the air and I pause because you're looking at me.
And then it's the very quick, huh? Like the stand up.
June?
Yes?
The mechanic has... Come here.
Okay.
And I kind of just like push you to the front, and
Junsho holds her hand out and she's like, "Hi, I'm Junsho.
Izuko.
Inventor.
Repairer?
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I didn't need... we're fixing it. I just wanted to let you know that's going to take about 3 more days for it to be fully operational again. She's, like, saying to show you.
And
Junsho just looks at Shoyu like, why am I part of this conversation?
She mentioned there's something else exploded, and you know about how you built this thing, so I thought you
yeah. Let me get you my schematics. And she goes back to her bag and like starts throwing stuff out, and then gets out this like rolled up scroll that she's got in like a special case so it doesn't get damaged, and hands it over to the repair person.
Oh, this will write the trick. Thank you. This might shave a day or 2 off of it, but that's barring we don't have another explosion.
What exploded?
We don't know. All right, back to the site. And she just sort of like does the 1-foot heel like swing turn and begins marching away. Thanks for the schematics, she just says over her shoulder.
Junsho looks back at Shoza. I feel like I should go with her.
Shoza's not in the room.
Where's Shoza?
In Chuyu's bedroom.
In my room.
In Choyu's room. Yeah.
Oh,
looking for stuff.
Junsho yells out louder then. Shoza, I think I should go with the mechanic.
You're going with the mechanic. Okay.
Do you want to
Don't-
come or are you staying here?
I mean, and Shoza comes out with like an ancient, like ceremonial, very important, like Earth Kingdom helmet on their head that's like a little too big for them. And they're like, I'm good here. I found some stuff. Oh, hold on. Of
Your
course,
dog.
Dog's freaking out right now.
Dogs in the Earth
Oh,
Kingdom
are
barking
you
with
gonna
that
talk-
open window.
Canonically, that's coming from the same alleyway that the window
new
is
window.
facing. And just dogs are like they're sense smell. What?
And Shoza's like kind of leans their head out of Chuyu's room with this like helmet on. And I'm good. I found some, and like from behind them, this like old, kind of like a Naginata, like a halberd style thing, like falls out through the door and they grab it. I found some stuff that I'm gonna look into. You're good. I don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Right. That's a good look. And then she like goes back, shoves all the stuff she threw out of it back into her bag, and promptly starts following the mechanic. And she kind of like is half running, half like walking, and is like, wait.
What?
Sorry, I already forgot your name. I think I should go with
Izuko?
you. What?
Izuko.
Izuko. Okay, Izuko. I'm going with you.
Is there a reason?
Because it's my ship.
Good reason. And she just immediately starts walking again.
So how long
So
have you
you-
been a mechanic?
Oh, 17 days.
Are you... I don't mean this to be rude, but are you qualified for this job?
Yeah.
Can
Why
I s-
wouldn't I be?
What else have you fixed?
A cart.
Her eye starts twitching. She's just like, all right, yeah, let's go. Let's go to the ship. I will show you all the
Okay.
things.
What do you mean? This is it's a very simple
Are you
don't
calling
understand.
my work simple?
No, it's incredibly complex and very confusing, which is why the schematics will help a lot. My dad used to build airships, so I know them. Like, I know their ins and outs pretty well. I never got to work on them, but I saw him working on them. So, I just,
Now her like corner of her mouth starts twitching because she's just like, okay, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna help.
oh, we
you.
got the crew for that. You don't need that. I've got the guys working on it.
Look, it'll make me feel better if I go with you and I help. So do this favor for me and let me help you.
It's your ship.
Thank you.
And Izuko just begins marching to the docks with you.
And Junsho's like okie dokie, like just following along.
And the camera cuts from following them down the first hill of Omashu to the entrance of the palace.
Wait,
Where-
I just need to say really quickly, when
Okay.
Shodza comes out like with like all my weaponry shit, like I think this is the most panicked that Choyu has looked this entire time. But they are still just letting it happen, although they are worried that Shoza's gonna hurt themselves on the stuff. Because there's also like a whole, I think one of the walls, maybe over like my dresser, has like 4 different swords that are all like super sharp, but they're on display.
They are all unsheathed and laying in various places in the room now, and they just have one of them in their hand.
It's that moment where like Choyu walks back into the room and like just sees shows with all this stuff, and then does that little Avatar like panic song, like the like thing.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
With the dong, like yeah, that whole thing, and then like show you is just like and then we and then that's the
And then it
look that
cuts.
we'll
Yeah,
cut-
and then
yeah,
it cuts.
that's the
Yeah.
look we'll cut off of. And we go to the palace steps where Her Highness is bidding adieu to Satya and her guardian. Let's call it as what it is. And she's giving long goodbyes. And do give my warmest regards to, and you just hear a very, like going very closer and closer and closer. And like a big sniffing noise that also sounds very wet and watery. And all of a sudden, from behind her, an eel hound pounces out of the entryway and on to Satya.
Can I interpose myself in between the eel hound and Satya?
Yeah.
Just like instinctually.
Yeah. Instinctually
I have a move for that, but I don't know if I need it.
Do
Are you
the
gonna
move.
fight it?
Do the move.
Maybe.
Let's play it
Do I
out.
have to? Okay, in my fighting techniques, I have divert, which is step into the way of a blow intended for allies. So I will do that.
And the scene is very much eelhound pounding pavement towards Satya, and then Ji Young just interposed that like anime slide into frame in front, like the hood, and then just eelhound and Ji Young just like take a tumble down the steps for a ways
Fully.
before the queen just carefully earth bends a little divot up and like catches you both essentially. Oh my goodness. Xiao Long.
That's G. She's the best. But
if really quickly, if the eelhound doesn't seem aggressive, I'm gonna start scratching it under the chin while we're like lying there.
It's the least aggressive thing in the world.
I think once we take the tumble and stop, I'm like, oh, cute. Start scratching.
He's just a big Ely boy, just big Ely boy.
This thing is huge, by the way. It's like 12 feet tall. I don't know. They're huge.
They're big boys.
And Satya, the last time you saw her, she was only like 6 feet.
Oh.
Yeah, like a lot smaller. Like she basically doubled in size since you last saw her. A very long boy. Very tall, long
slippery boy. It's like, have you ever gone to the aquarium and petted like a manta ray or a stingray? It is that texture. It's that texture.
I'm petting.
They look like whippets to me. Like in the pictures, they look like giant whippets.
They're essentially giant Ely whippets. That's what eelhounds basically are. Yes. And the queen sort of, again, just rolls down. She doesn't really walk. She just stationarily like moves her way down. Says, "Oh, well, I suppose Xiao Long might help you find where Xiao Yu is, if you would like to take her along with you."
I don't mind. Haven't seen her in a long time.
You're so cute.
I know.
You're so sweet. You're so cute.
Just like long tongue, like long Ely tongue and teeth out of like a dog's sort of head. Like it's very, yeah. And she'll just sort of nod and then bow again and say to the both of you, "Well, I wish you the best luck in reconnecting with your betrothed."
Thank you. Yes. Well, let me know if you need anything. We'll pass by when we leave the city again. But
that would be lovely. Thank you.
yeah, okay. It was nice to see you, and thank you. And as she's saying this, there's like rice ball falling out of the tunic, and she's like trying to shove it back in the tunic.
I don't think she notices at all. She's just like totally locked on, like Satya's back, like doesn't notice anything about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If she had detangled herself from the eel hound by that point and like come to stand by Satya for like the final goodbyes, she'll like catch one or two as they're falling, kind of like stop like behind Satya's back, like hand them to her.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we'll start making our way. Well, we'll let our little eel hound lead the way, and just keep going.
Yeah, that makes sense. As you pass through the streets of Amashu, you see first of all, Xiaolong is just nose to the ground, like now that they're out and about, they're getting scents off of various things, and they're trying to find a particular one. You know the scent they're trying to find. And they go up to a cart and they sniff in it and root around the vegetables, and then an owner just whacks it. My cabbages! And then just quietly takes the cart back and retreats away. They go to a tea shop, which you probably would have frequented in your youth with Xiaoyu. And like there's the Xiaolong goes up to it and sort of sniffs the wall and arch as people back away and are like, what the fuck? Like, why? And just sort of turn the opposite way and like leave very pointedly. And while we see this procession down the streets,
It's not subtle at all.
it's not subtle at all. No, not remotely. Is there? There's not really a perception skill, is there? We don't really have that in this system, do we?
I mean,
No, not
Perception
really.
check.
Be
Roll
like
a
a
d20 anyway.
I know. Screw it.
Assess the situation.
Assess the situation, maybe.
Actually, that would be very good. Yes. I imagine since Ji-young is in Guardian Protector mode, you might make those rolls from time to time.
Yeah.
Just sort of be like, let's assess the situation. What is the threat in the area to Satya, right?
Yeah.
So would you go ahead and give me 2d6 on that roll?
All right. That's a.
And you roll with creativity, yes.
Balls. I have a -1 to creativity for some reason. That's fine.
The ideal guardian.
Right. I got a 10 total, so minus 1 9.
Yeah. So since you got a 7 through 9, which is considered a success, you can ask one question. And there's a couple that they offer in the book. What here can I use to blank? Who or what is the biggest threat? What should I be on the lookout for? Et cetera, et cetera. So what one question would you like to assess about this situation?
I think G is always looking for what a threat or a danger is. So she's just
Always on that Jason Bourne style. Where are the exits? What's the threat? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
Cool. What is the biggest threat in this area?
like something that would be concerning that she would want to like clock.
It's been a few minutes since you were properly at the palace, and so you've made your way down the streets properly, and you've noticed in the milieu of the crowd some familiar faces that like pass or like happen to go to roughly the same place you do. You know what those movements are like. That is the churn of the chaos and just people walking and living their lives. However, there is a specific style of person who seems like they're like, it's like seeing someone and knowing they're doing something, right? Like knowing they're not in the milieu, knowing they've got an agenda. And you see two such individuals back. They've always been behind you and never been really like noticeable. They'll purposely be looking away. They'll be at a different area. They'll be at the cabbage cart looking at the wares. They're always like not faces turned, but for whatever reason, they're progressing at an equal distance to your little party of three. Never any closer, never any further back, and they're always there.
Okay. G hates that. I think she is always walking like very adjacent to Satya. So like without turning her head or anything towards Satya, she's going to say, we're being followed currently. I don't know by who or why, but I can either turn around and go find out, or we can try to lose them. What do you want me to do?
I know who and why.
Oh,
Let's assume, are they east and west or north and south?
are they east and west or north and south?
That's there. So if you're traveling down the street, right, the central street of Amashu, you're headed in a southerly direction. So they're two behind you. So they're technically north up the street, but the way that they progress down it is they're never on the same exact side. And sometimes they kind of like alternate. They're never in the place that you would expect to look for them, if that makes sense, which kind of makes it expectable to look in those places if you know who's following.
Okay. So Satya would say, assuming that Jean knows what she means, because they probably have done stuff like this before. So she'll say, let's assume east and west positions. And so that means that they will split up, but still keep within eyesight of each other, get lost in a crowd. So kind of make like a bottleneck formation and keep going like that until they lose them.
Yeah, that is going to be a trick on both of you.
Can she kind of like, if the crowd's thick enough, can she kind of like walk with her legs slightly bent so she's a little bit shorter?
Yeah. You sort of, you do the like slinky down, like walking downstairs in the middle of the crowd. Yeah.
Exactly.
Roll 2d6 with creativity, please.
Okay. Creativity, goddammit.
I rolled an 8.
I got a 6.
8 and a 6. Okay. 7 through 10.
Sorry. Can I ask a retrospective question?
Yeah, sure. Let's have a minor retrospective.
when I was putting together my little character playbook, I didn't know what the stats were used for. I should have checked. I could add a +1 to any stat. Do you think it would be okay if I retrospectively added a +1 to creativity to make it +0? Or no? Yeah, it's okay if not.
Why not?
Okay. I feel like if I had known that creativity went into basically perception, she would have picked that, and that's my bad for not checking on it. But
here's what I'll do: a GM plug. Hey, hi everybody, how's it going? I hope you're enjoying watching the show. This system isn't out yet. We are using the quick start rules. We're all learning together, and none of us know what the fuck we're doing half the time.
Nope.
Me included. Me big included. I made a couple mistakes last episode, and we might still make more here. So just stick with us. The full rules are coming out for PDF in a couple weeks. Who knows? Maybe it'll be before we finish up. But yes, retroactively, let's say you take a +1 in creativity, which would make your roll a 7, wouldn't it?
Yes.
You two have both pulled this maneuver off before. East-west is a common one. And you both just fade into the crowd. And are you still moving, or are you just sort of positioning yourself away from the last position you were at to see what sort of happens?
I would say we're still moving.
Okay.
It could be slower to see if maybe our tails would pass us, but we are still trying to move in a forward projection.
Gotcha.
Where's the hound go?
Yeah, see, I was going to just sort of mention that.
Oh,
as soon as Satya takes on that presence of like diminishing their presence and like moving into the crowd, like Xiaolong immediately is just like sensing the vibe and just goes down and begins to just sort of yield her way through the crowd, and always is at your like back right foot. Like this is Neil Hound, who knows what they're about, you know? And you take this moment and you're still moving sort of at a different pace to suss out like what your followers are doing. And you see them, it's a man and a woman, man very short, woman very tall. And both of them sort of break their cover a little bit and begin searching. And they're like, they were just, right? oh no. And you just hear both of them comment to that. And then you hear Xiaolong at your heel just go, and then begin slithering rapidly through the crowd, like no longer at your heel, just slithering through it and breaking away. And then you just see people like throwing up their hands, backing off, oh, oh, ah! And then the two followers are immediately like, look at each other, look at the crowd parting, and immediately jump up out of the crowd onto the roofs and begin surfing on the clay tiles, following the part in the crowd.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Go ahead.
No, you go. That was G going, well.
Fair.
I think at that point, Satya would probably know that that means that Xiaolong caught a scent. So she's going to try to follow at a distance, and they're making enough ruckus that I think at a distance behind is okay. But we'll try to see if we can. The plan is to be behind so that the tails don't see, but to attract Xiaolong back to us using a rice ball.
Genius.
So that, they don't exactly lead them to where we're trying to go.
Okay. I'm just gonna flip a coin here. This is
Oh, God.
this is
The classic
this is a
coin
luck.
flip.
The classic coin flip. Heads or tails, Sean?
Tails.
Okay. So the scene transitions as these two folks who are dressed in very plain clothes, they're very, very dressed down, are just essentially skating and surfing along the rooftops, jumping from them as the eel hound with that panicked Avatar music is just plowing through the crowd and people are like desperately trying to get out of the way. There's no pretense of Xiaolong now on the ground. They're just full on galloping. And Xiaolong is fast. Like whatever you think speed they're going at, it's faster. And so the two of you are actually struggling to keep up and like get through the crowd. And you're like, rice ball, and like trying. It's very clear Xiaolong has no eyes, no nose for anything but the scent that they've finally caught. And we see that and we zoom out from that perspective, still with the crowd parting wildly and two people skating across rooftops to a pier at the midway down the crest of the first hill in Omashu that has been created where Izuko has taken Junsho. And you see that the work area at that place is full of 5 identically looking like human beings. Everyone here is sort of dressed down in Fire Nation garb, like you and your twin have been. Like it still has those reds, but it's got a lot of muted coloration within it. And they all, the 5 individuals who look nearly exactly identical to one another are appearing to do work on the airship and quite competently as well. And Izuko just kind of like gestures to it and says, see, nothing to worry about. Capable hands, I told you.
Can she do an inspection?
Yeah, please.
Do you want me to do like a assess the situation roll?
Let's assess that situation, baby.
Okie dokie. That's okay. So 2d6, and let me get my character sheet. That's an 8 total.
8 total. Cool. What would you like to assess about it? What question would you like to ask?
Did they break my shit? Like, did they make the damage worse?
In going over the ship, heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay. In going over the ship, you're able to see that they ruptured a pipe, which they didn't know was there. And it's a minor explosion. It pretty much took out where Shoza sleeps. But it was enough that it was able to be patched up pretty quickly. And as soon as she was able to hand over the schematics, she being Izuko here, they were able to be like, oh, that's what we should have done, and just have begun like welding it shut with fire bending and hammering different things into place. It was a minor boo-boo, but it was like, if you're working on a custom vessel, yeah, it makes sense that you would cut there and not think anything important would be there, and then oopsie daisy, boom. So like, I imagine you've been going around the ship inspecting all of it. That's been the only thing that's gone wrong. They haven't even touched the kitchen. It's still in fine working order. Everyone else's areas have been taken well care of. And they've actually gone the extra mile and started scrubbing down the ship so it gets that nice polish, and have like done work on the deck to get it clean of a little bit of like grit and dirt that had been accumulated on it. And Izuko just like pops over your shoulder. Is everything okay?
Define okay.
To your standards of worth ethic, to the point where you would be willing to recommend me with a glowing review to any future persons who might be interested in the service of Five Brothers Reconstruction.
Five brothers. Who are the five brothers?
Them. And she just points at the 5 clearly identical looking quintuplet dudes.
I was about to say, Juncho goes, are they quintuplets?
Yeah, they're quintuplets. And like, as she says that, they all turn with the and they do like a hunky construction pose, and then immediately get back to their work.
They look like they're working very hard.
Yeah, they were my dad's crew. They're very, very dedicated to their work, and they know what they're doing. I told you they know what they're doing.
Okay. Where's your dad? Oh, okay. So, this looks good. I'm glad you have the schematics now. Are you good at fixing, are you personally good at fixing things? Or are you just good at managing others?
He never really taught me.
No, you misunderstand me. Sorry. I was trying to, find out if I could call you next time I blow something up.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes, yeah, that'd be great. If you're ever in Omashu, feel free to reach out to Five Brothers Services, if you'll excuse me. And she just walks away, sort of unceremoniously.
Juncho takes out a notebook that on the front says, times I was socially awkward, and writes this down, writes this situation down, and like thinks to talk to Nimbia about it, and then remembers that Nimbia's not around, and so then she's like, I guess I gotta talk to Chiyo about it, because they are, trained in being diplomatic and probably is better at talking to people than Juncho is. And then she goes to sit. What volume is Juncho on? I don't know what your question means. She's going to go sit somewhere where she can observe the work being done but be out of the way. And try to look like she's not watching. But she's totally watching, and she's watching to make sure they don't break anything else, but also she wants to see if she can observe anything about Isako? Yeah. Isako, okay. To see if she can find, listen in on conversations or, figure out something she likes so that she could go buy it at the market to apologize.
So you observe the workmen and the Five Brothers doing their best to fix the ship. It all looks up to code, up to standard. Everything's ship shape, so to speak. But as you're listening for Izuko and looking for her to have any conversations, you just hear very quiet weeping from the kitchen area.
Junsho's not going to touch that. She's going to wait till she can touch to Chuyo first to make sure that she doesn't make things worse. She's going to go to one of the brothers. Hey.
Yeah, hi, how can I help you?
Hi. Cool, you guys are quintuplets. My sibling and I are twins, so like the same thing but smaller.
Oh, twinsies! Yeah,
but Shows is not small. I'm small. They're not. So question. Your leader, Izuko.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that like she likes? Like hair thingies or flowers or tea or cookies.
Oh, what's Izzy like? You know, gonna be real honest. We haven't really worked together that long. I mean, she's always been around. Full confession, we used to work in the Fire Nation constructing these for the Navy. And her dad always intended the sort of best thing, but he didn't really want her involved with the work because of it was war, you know, like everybody had to do a job. It's what he was good at. So she found us after and wanted to work with us to, you know, sort of rebuild and make something different, you know. But she hasn't been with us more than Rosu. Yeah, Rosa. How long? 3 weeks. Thanks. No problem, Rosa. Thanks, Rosa.
As this is happening, Junsho is as if she couldn't get any smaller. She just kind of like shrinks into herself, and she's like, so you guys are Fire Nation?
I mean, and
then
really...
she like lights up her hand real quick, like,
oh yeah, and he just bends, and all 4 of the other brothers are just like, hey, 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 like they're like, so, yeah, you know, like, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. And, she thinks really hard about, like, okay, so you offend somebody, how long do you want to wait between when you offend them and you apologize? Like, she's weighing her options, like, should she go back to Chuyo and ask how to talk, or should she, like, go straight in there and apologize now, and, like, she's calculating, like, her level of awkwardness.
And as you're doing those calculations, and sort of, like, walking away, and he's sort of turning back to his work, you just hear tink 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 tink, and then in front of you is suddenly a very large eel hound, which is just sniffing you up and down.
Excuse you? That's my personal bubble.
And, like, it doesn't seem to care because now it's gone to your back and is sniffing just up and down and sort of flicking its tongue out to taste as well every occasionally.
She goes, hey, no, sit.
And the eelhound doesn't sit, but she just flops on her back and immediately does the, like, puppy paws things at your legs, like trying to, like, engage you in play, and then, like, just, like, almost is pleading with you when you hear 2 other things, just a clunk, clunk. And then, like, both the eelhound and you, I imagine, look in that direction, right? And at the same time, both of you are just like, rrr, and both of you just see, like, 2 dressed down people who have now just, like, landed on the bridge of the ship and are, like, clearly in earthbender poses. And are like, and then both of them just shoot away immediately. Like, jump over the sides immediately and begin to, like, leave.
And Juncho's just like, this is too many things to calculate right now.
And at that point, we get that internal monologue, and maybe even said to yourself, we have Ji Young and Satya who have come to the pier, and you're able to see the two people who are following you just leap off the sides of the ship and then just like Mario wall slide down either side of the pier and just like disappear into the depths.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
works.
sure. I'm cool with that, I guess.
Should we? I don't know who this
Yeah.
person is, but
I don't know. Let's go.
let's go.
And then you just see like Xiaolong's head pop off the side of the ship and just go while also clearly surrounding Junshou as you get up onto the deck of the ship, like circling and then occasionally like pointing directly into Junshou's face.
And Juncho's doing this, like, get out of my face. And she turns around, sees you two, and she's like, hello!
Hi.
Is this your dog?
No. Do you know Choyu?
Do you know Choyu?
I do. This is their eelhound.
Oh, this
I'm
is
gonna
their boat.
Oh, perfect.
Well,
I'm gonna
they
like kind of interpose. I'm gonna try and get the eelhound out of her face.
Yeah,
Just like,
as this exchange of,
okay.
do you know Choyu? Do you know Choyu? This is their eelhound. This is their boat. You just see Ji Young in the background, like pushing slowly, like
Come on.
the clearly intent Xiaolong, like who is working with all her strength to get back to Junshou, like just in the background. Yeah.
Perfect.
And she like digs around in her bag and like pulls out some snacks that she keeps for Shoza and like throws them at the dog, the evil hound, and is you two know how do you know my friend?
Oh, we grew up together.
Oh.
Yeah. And this is my companion, G.
Oh.
Hello.
You're taller than Shoza.
I don't know who that is.
My twin.
Oh. Well, are they your size?
They're taller. Well, oh, I see where. Sorry. No, Shoza's real big.
Oh.
They're back at Chuyo's apartment. You know where that is? Oh. When's the last time you saw Chuyo?
5 years ago?
Oh, okay. So cool. You grew up together. Does that mean you grew up like in like a palace or near a palace? Like, just trying to figure out how much people training you've had.
A lot. I grew up basically living with them.
Great. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Great. Okay, so I hurt someone's feelings. I don't know much about them, but I made her cry, and I want to apologize. Should I just give her... So I have this fancy tea, and she holds up the tea she stole from Chuyo. You think, like, if I she's in the kitchen crying, I think. You think if I give it to her now it'd be good, or should I wait?
How well do you know this person?
Literally met her 30 minutes ago.
And at that, you just hear Izuko's voice, is something going on? And she just steps out of the kitchen, like clearly bleary-eyed, but like also composed.
She looks at Satya and goes, that's her.
That's who.
Give it to her now. Give it to her.
Okay. Izuko, these are friends of the owner of the boat. I have something for you. Here, and hands her the tea and says, I'm sorry about saying the things that I said earlier that hurt your feelings. I didn't mean to. I'm really bad with people. This is volume 7, and she like holds the notebook up that says like times I was awkward.
Volume 7. And she just sort of like looks down at the tea and like looks up at you. Thanks?
Do you not like tea?
No.
I have snacks.
No, I don't need, please, I don't need any apology. You all have paid me very well enough already.
But money isn't an apology though.
Sorry, Satya is putting a rice ball into Junsho's hand to give to Izuko.
Rice ball?
Which Izuko sees and it's like, thank you.
Rice ball made by the queen.
Yeah, I know. Like royal rice ball.
Royal
yeah.
rice ball.
It's got the royal seal stamped in it.
And yeah,
And
the royal seal stands into
Izuko just looks at it and is like, did you get these from the what?
Yeah, they're real fancy. And she points at Satya.
Thanks.
Anyway, the reason that I was asking you about the things that you fixed before and whether or not you had training was because I thought we could work together. But since you don't, I have a lot of things that I could teach you if you were interested in learning how to fix things. Also this, and she like does fire hands real quick. Yeah, so I understand where you're coming from. And she like just like does this with her hands, like with the fire, because she's so bad at talking to people and with people, and so she's just like, so I understand where you're coming from, and then closes her hands and it's like, and so I just thought that maybe you would like to learn how to do things. Whenever we're in Omashu, I could teach you things.
When you do the fire hands, you see all of the brothers stop what they're doing and just sort of turn their heads, and you just see this look in Izuko's face that is, she doesn't say anything, she just very quietly like gives you all of the tea and the rice ball back and then immediately retreats to the kitchen.
What did I do?
It seems like the fire was not a good idea.
But I thought she's from the Fire Nation. I was trying to show her that I understood where she was coming from.
And it could be the same brother. It might be a completely different one. You're not entirely sure. Comes and sort of sidles up and says, her dad wasn't fired, Ben.
But was he part of the... He's not from the Fire Nation?
He's from the Fire Nation. He just didn't bend. That's why he tinkered. Firelord wasn't exactly happy when he quit.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go find Shoza now. And she like, oh, if you want to come with me, what was your name? And she looks at Satya and G.
I'm Satya.
Big lady?
Hi, I'm Jiyoung.
Okay, great. If you want to follow me, I will take you to Chuyo's apartment. And it's like, you know when Charlie Brown is sad? That is the walk that Junsho does the whole way back. And she doesn't say anything for the whole walk back to Chuyo's apartment.
Oh. Well,
Go.
Oh, I was just gonna try to cheer her up a little bit. Satya, while she is an earthbender, she's not really trained in it. She doesn't use it. But she'll make a little like ball of dirt in her hand, and just be like, do you want to try something cool? Why don't you light this on fire?
You want me to light dirt on fire?
Yeah, do it. Watch.
She looks really freaked out, but she's not. She's like, okay, it's fine. She knows what she's doing.
All right. And she lights it on fire.
And then Satya Satya will toss it as high in the air as she can, and behind her, the eelhound is going to jump over their heads to try and catch it, and it's just beautiful and majestic. And she likes it, so she was hoping that maybe Junsho would like that too.
Yeah, Xiaolong does that anime across the sun, like blots it out and like catches it in her mouth, and you just Xiaolong comes, like catches it, lands, turns proudly with that like stance, and then gracefully and diligently trots over to Satya's feet and and puts the ball right at their feet. The ball's no longer on fire. It's very incredibly moist.
It's mud now.
It's it still has form. It's very gently. It just has moisture.
Junsho like smiles a little bit and she's like, "You should show that trick to Shoza. They'd really like it." And then continues walking.
And I think at that point we are going to, I imagine, and Ji-young, let me know if this is true, your guard might have faltered just the littlest bit with all of this information, and your attention might not be 100%.
I think that's fair. I think especially with the what happened with Junsho and Izuko, she's like, oh, like a little out of it.
Okay, cool. I didn't want to do this without your consent as a player. As we see the 3 and now 3+ Eelhound mosey their way down the pier and back into the city limits proper, the 2 followers who had been following you, we cut down to a shot halfway down the pier where they're just arms in the rock-like wall of it and shifting over and climbing and following them back to where Choyu. It's about midday. What have you and Shoza been up to, I want to ask? What scene are we entering into with the 2 of you?
I think we have finished a lesson of sorts. I think
A lesson of swords.
Of swords, yes. Shoza has found all the weaponry that was stored in my room that I didn't really use but have been trained in. And Shoza definitely like tried to like have 2 swords in both hands and tried to like, and Choyu was like, no. And I think like Shoza, you would have like asked me to like teach you something because you just want to get me like out of bed pretty much.
Shoza does not know how sad you are or really any of that, but Shoza's very excited to just trade in general with people. So as soon as they're like, oh, you got swords? They're just like, show me how to do it.
Wait. I wave a hand, and I think I literally earthbend the front wall of my bedroom just down, and I push all my furniture away so that we have like space.
Hell yeah.
And I think I've taught you how to use at least one of the weapons that we have, or that I have. My weapons in my room. I have showed you how to use them. And I think like as the scene comes back in, I'm like telling you, oh, you did very well. Like this is really good. And I think I am pleasantly surprised by how quickly Shozo was able to pick up on the technique and whatnot, because I think like Shozo, it's like a really big person, and Choyu was pleasantly surprised as to their attention to detail for the specific movements for the swords. I don't know how to use swords, but
That's fair. What kind of sword would you have trained Shoza with? And what sort of like technique or maneuver would you have like gone through with them on?
I don't know.
I mean, I
Jack
can
shit about
answer that.
swords.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can answer.
Guess
you
who
you
knows
tell
about
you tell
swords?
everyone.
Hey.
That's fair.
Chuyu would most likely, because we're pulling a bunch of Chinese influences for the Earth Kingdom, so it would most likely be a single-edged broadsword known as a Dao, and Chuyu would most likely probably start. And this might actually be just as far as Chuyu ever went themselves, but we'll just start like moving Shoza through. I don't know Chinese terms for it, but like essentially like the basic kata, the basic just like martial arts forms for fighting with a broadsword, and just like the simple swing and block. And I think Chuyu would probably pick up on it, but the audience would pick up on it as well. Like Shoza isn't necessarily like a savant in martial arts. They're not like gonna be like super mega impressive when they come out of it, but compared to like everything else Shoza does, there is just like immediate like calm and concentration, and also like they pick up on it like immediately. They're just like, oh cool, like this, and then just do it like perfectly, because that they Shoza like loves fighting, loves martial arts, loves any kind of like physical like combative I don't know, for lack of a better word, like sport.
Sports.
And so yeah, sports. And yeah, Chuyu I think would probably be a little surprised too, because I imagine a lot of what missions they did do while they were together, like Shoza wouldn't necessarily like shine through, because Fior would be there doing some crazy like nonsense or whatever, and Shoza would just kind of like be muscle and honestly like kind of lackluster firebending. So I think like this is an opportunity for Chuyu to see like, oh holy shit, like no, you're very good at this.
And I think upon seeing how well my student is doing, because I do want to say, like, Choyu doesn't fight with weapons because they have their earthbending, but having grown up in the palace, they definitely were trained well in weapons. They haven't used them in forever, so they are a little rusty, but they do, it comes back kind of like riding a bike. And I think this is the first time in like this entire week that I have smiled and laughed a little bit with you. And I just think this is nice. It felt very nice to not be moping around in bed and to actually be doing something, get the blood pumping. And I tied my hair up for this, like I piled it all up on my head in this like really messy top knot. Yeah, and I think as the scene comes back, it's me telling you, you did very well. We're both kind of just tired.
Yeah, I think Chuyu's probably like noticeably more tired and sweaty, and Shoza's kind of like got the sheen, but they're just like, they're living it. They feel like they got some gains today, so they're just like, yeah, oh thanks, that was cool, I like that. I've never had a sword like that, so
you can have it if you want.
What? This one?
And I point to it and I said, yeah, you can have it if you like.
Thanks. And they walk over and they pick up definitely the wrong sheath, and they kind of like cram the sword in there.
No, not that.
Yeah.
One. No.
And they hold it up. Dun, 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 and then they
I like to imagine you're holding it up. I earthbend something to like unsheath it, and then like the rocks pick up the right one and stick it on. And then I do thumbs up.
They don't notice the sheaths have changed.
Oh, yeah, not at all.
You now both have a technique that has been taught to you through student master Perry. Wow. It is a defend and maneuver technique. The basics of it are as follows. I'm making this all up on the fly, so we're out here.
1 second.
No worries.
I have my thing. Okay, Perry. Yep.
Let me know when you're good.
I almost spelled Perry like the name.
Fair.
Okay, I'm
You
good.
both have a Rick Perry.
Mark 1 fatigue to block an incoming attack. And strike a foe in reach in return, forcing them to mark 2 fatigue, mark a condition, or basically the first sentence of the strike maneuver, if that helps to
Mark
copy.
fatigue to block an incoming blow and
Incoming
strike.
attack, I should say.
Okay. Attack and strike back.
Incoming attack with a weapon. There we go. That's what I needed there.
Nailed it.
And strike back, forcing the
Them to mark
opponent-
2 fatigue,
Okay.
mark a condition, or shift their balance away from the center, their choice.
Fatigue. 1. Shift.
And we can hammer out the details later
Yeah.
on that as well. But as you are both like sword in sheath above with the rock, like sleeving it off and getting the proper one on, you do not hear a knock at the door. You do not hear anything except just and then through the window, bursting in, is just Xiaolong, who gets caught in it at first and then just wriggles their way like an eel would through the rest of it. All like 14 feet of them whipping around the room in a frenzy, knocking everything off of the walls and just like going like this at your feet, show you, and just
First of all, the biggest F's for my apartment, which at the beginning of this whole thing was very pristine and organized and a nice place, and now it looks like a literal tornado has come through here,
almost
which
like that's
probably
intentional.
yes.
Yeah.
Upon seeing Xiaolong, I think Choyu absolutely melts because they haven't seen Xiaolong in forever. Oh yeah, F's for my apartment in chat, everybody. I haven't seen Xiaolong in a while. I felt very sad having to leave Xiaolong behind when I went with the group.
It's been a very Xiaolong time.
Boo! No, that was a good one. And oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. But I think I absolutely melt upon seeing Xiaolong, and I think I have happy tears for the first time in a while, and yeah, I just seem very happy to see Xiaolong, and I'm just like whispering to her like, oh, how'd you get out? You know, where did you come from? Like, oh, you found me. Like, oh, good girl. Like,
and just whimpering and eel noises. I don't know what
Yes.
eel sounds like.
she's licking me all over, like licking all the like everything off me. Like, oh,
And
boy.
at that moment, do you want to knock at the door, Satya? You hear a knock at the door.
And I just turn and I was like, oh, and I just assume it's Jun. And I'm gonna try and wrestle myself out of Xiaolong's grasp.
It's
and
a
I'm like,
difficult wrestle.
Hey. Sit.
Immediately sits.
And down.
Immediately goes down. But like that tail and butt is wiggling waggling.
And I just tell her to stay.
And she like reluctantly gives you the no, please. And then just like stays.
And I will go to the door.
And standing at the door is Junsho, I imagine in front of the other two, but can't really be hidden because, you know, Ji Young's pretty big. And do you want to say something before revealing Satya, Nikki?
No, Junsho just like head down, pushes past, and walks back into the apartment to find Shoza.
Okay. And behind standing is Satya.
And I think like my eyes, like I saw June first. I looked up and saw G, and I was like, "Holy shit, who's this?" And by the time I looked down again, Junsho has pushed past me back in, and I lay eyes on Satya for the first time in 5 years.
And we're going to anime zoom in on Satya's face in this moment, and then cut to break for a second. So, yeah, we leave on that minor cliffhanger. We'll be back after a short 5 or 10. Don't worry. But yeah, go get some water, go bend some earth, hug your eel hounds, and we'll see you in a second. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Did you pet your eelhound? Did you get some water? Did you get an earth-bended ball of mud curled up into your hands, flame-alighting it, and throw it for your eelhound? I messed that sentence up. Everything is bad in the world. Welcome back to Avatar Reclamation Episode 2. And we're just going right in at where we left off with Choyu and Satya seeing one another for the first time in 5 years.
Hi, Shayu.
I am like speechless for like a couple seconds, and then Yanni?
It's me.
Oh my god. You look so different.
You do too. Your hair's longer.
Yeah, and it's like all just like totally piled up in my head. Like I have a mass of hair, and like there's like some strands that are just hanging down, but my hair's like to my waist at this point. And I just like, what, why back in town? Come in. And I'm like, where are my manners? Come in. I'm sorry about the mess. It's a lot.
It's okay. This is my best friend, G.
Hello.
Hi. And I'm
It's a
gonna
pleasure to meet
reach
you.
out to
I've heard a
shake
lot
your
about
hand.
you.
Oh. Oh, wow. How did you meet?
She moved to my town. When she left Amashu. It's the short version of the long story.
Cool. Choyu is immediately aware of how messy everything is, and how messy they are, and how not clean they are, and they look like a complete and utter train wreck.
Yeah. If you want, I can just, you look around the apartment and like the wall has clearly been moved in the way that earthbending leaves a track. There's just weapons on the ground. Everything's been knocked to the floor. There's a faint odor that you can't quite place, like lingering. And yeah, you just like survey the scene, and that, yeah.
There's a extremely wide Vembo just holding a sheathed sword.
That you probably recognize. It was probably some dignitary gift or something.
Yeah, Shoza immediately runs over seeing June and is just like, June.
Yeah.
You gave me a sword. Look at this. Shing! That.
And she turns to Chuyo and is like, is that smart?
No, we
How to use
totally,
it.
they show me how to use it. So basically I'm like the best sword person ever. Shink. And so that's cool. And then Shoza sees G and just goes, oh, you're so tall.
Hi, so are you.
Thanks. But you're, wow.
Yeah, she's taller than you.
I know. Have you seen, do you fight?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Sizing each other
Shoza
up.
does that
Yeah.
one pose where you like cross your arms and like push your biceps
And kind of
out.
put your biceps up. Cool. Yeah. What style do you use? How do you fight?
All of them, I suppose.
Shoza leans kind of closer towards June. She said all of them.
Yeah, she seems
She
really
does all
cool.
That's so cool. I bet I could beat her though. I bet I could beat you though.
You probably could.
Well, probably, yeah. Hi, I'm Shoza.
It's nice to meet you. I'm G. I put my hand out.
Cool. They shake it just very, very firm, and they say, "Yeah, we'll get there. We'll fight. It's cool."
Yeah.
You like
We don't have
squeeze
to
each
do it
other's
right now.
hands really hard. Like
Yeah, they
that
just
whole, like,
yeah,
We'll do the
yeah, just biceps.
I love this so much.
And then Shoza looks at Satya. Hey, how's it going?
Hi,
I'm Shoza.
I'm Satya. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Satya. It's nice meeting you.
That's a really cool doll.
Okay.
Right?
Ooh, shing! Yeah, did you see it? It's pretty cool, right?
That's it's a very important weapon. So I know that you're important because you're holding it. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm gonna tell everybody that. Shing! Yeah. Thank you. So June, what did you? Oh, sorry. Hold on. And Shoza like gets like almost like more formal in just like noticing that there's like a vibe here between the three of you. June, do you want to go talk in the kitchen about what you did today?
Yep. And she's gonna like does the Charlie Brown walk right into the kitchen and goes to start making tea.
Oh, that means she's sad. This is gonna be a long one. You guys have fun.
Really quickly,
just wanders away.
As Josie's leaving,
for it.
I'm gonna lean towards them and say, she had a little bit of a rough interaction. I think she's sad. Just so
Okay,
you're
yeah.
aware. I'm sure you can tell you're.
No, yeah, I should have gone with her. As you can probably tell, we're identical twins, so.
I could tell. You guys, spitting image.
Yeah, it's the freckles mostly. Okay, well, I'll figure this out. You three have fun. You seem like there's something going on there. All right. And just follows June out.
You follow the dulcet, kind tones of Vince Guaraldi wafting from the kitchen where Jin Cho
Yeah,
was.
I follow the na.
Yeah. Suddenly we've switched from Avatar to Peanuts. Yeah, do you want to have that scene interacting with Jin Cho? Or who would like a scene here?
I think let the awkward lovers thing go first.
Yeah, let them do that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Really quickly, just for context, for the whole of whatever's about to happen, G is just going to be standing like to the side, like you know that meme where it's like the emoji that's just like there. Yeah, she's just going to be there, like if
like two eyes, lips, the like
a little bit, yeah, like just tuned in, keeping an eye, not wanting to interfere, but present.
Oh, interesting. Do you want to roll an assess situation for me?
Me?
Perhaps? Yeah.
Oh.
Because I think it's at this point that your bodyguard, would have like come back and like, wait.
Like, oh, right.
Check it out. Right.
I'm supposed to be looking for things.
We're on the clock here.
Yeah. 10.
10. Perfect. Would you? I believe that's 2 questions you get to ask in that instance. What would you like to questione macaroni?
Fantastic. I love questione macaronis.
Scrumdiddlyumptious. So.
Hell yeah. How about what should I be on the lookout for? And
you can make up your own questions if you think they'd be appropriate.
Okay. Yeah. So like, I guess is there a threat that I should be concerned about?
Is there a threat?
And is Satya okay? Can I do that?
Yeah. 10 gets you that. And you take +1 ongoing when acting on these answers. So any future roll you take to deal with whatever occurs, which may or may not be anything. I just want you to know.
Okay.
So let's answer the second question first. How's Satya doing? How is Satya doing? Like emotionally, how would you describe her extroverted appearance right now?
Yeah. G being a constant in Satya's life for the past 5-ish years, she knows very well the like diplomatic mask and like how the smile is different and kind of fake. Like the smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. And that's what she looks like right now. You know how she feels about to you, and you know the tension that is there. even if Chuyu doesn't at the moment. And so
I have no idea.
yeah. So it's just like you can see the turmoil, but you can see that I'm trying to hide it.
I think G just clocks that and like again doesn't want to interfere until it seems necessary or like Sasha wants it to.
Yeah, and the other question was, is there anything that's a threat right now, right?
Yeah.
Typically when a threat is present in an area, you get a sense of like unease or disturbance. Or if things are normal, another way to gauge it is like the flowing in the streets of a crowd. Like, is the crowd walking with their own intentionality? Is that chaos present? And so while you don't like, you sort of do that thing where you sort of tune out from the conversation and just really try to like hear the world around you at the same volume. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, totally.
and one thing sticks out. The hubbub of typical like city life is like off. It's like the grasshoppers and crickets have gone quiet at night. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there windows?
There's one in Choyu's room.
Is that the only one?
Well,
big
so
one.
no. So there are windows in my apartment, but
Okay.
I cut a hole into the wall to air out
Right.
my room.
Right.
So there's windows with glass, I imagine, or
Okay.
whatever. But there's one giant hole in my my bedroom side that looks out into the alley. But
Where you hear
whole
the barking
apartment,
of dogs.
yeah, I think the whole apartment is basically one room now because I took down like pretty much all the walls and pushed everything that was movable to the edge so that Shozo and I could do swords. So
Where
it's
are the
one.
twins?
They're in the kitchen area, but I was gonna assume that I led you two into basically where my like living area was. Like I probably have some kind of couch thing, and I was going to lift up a wall so that we could talk.
Okay. Then
Fair.
just really quickly, last thing is that G will, while still trying to be like doing that multitasking fun stuff, try to both be keeping an eye on that conversation and like edge her way towards a window just to like try and keep an eye on like she wants to check out what that weirdness is.
Front-facing window? Like,
yeah,
street
in
where
the
you
living
came in?
room. Yeah.
Okay.
Nearest window.
You go to the window and there's nobody on the street outside.
At all? Okay. Can we do
Panic.
can
That's
we do
weird.
for narrative, can we have the conversation start assuming that
Yeah.
they were talking the whole time that I was doing this and then I'll hop in?
Yeah.
So I lead you over to the living area, and I just like whoop up a wall. And I'm like, sorry, the place is a mess. I didn't expect to see you. Wow. Here, sit. And I like pull a chair for you.
How are you? Have you been?
Like in general or like right now?
Well, I can tell right now you're not doing so well. So
No.
in general,
In general, it was fine.
okay.
Ish, I guess. I don't know. And I hear like the twins like talking in the other room. And I'm like, I think this is a longer story for another time if you have time. How long are you in town for?
I don't know. I was just passing through and then I saw your mom.
Oh. How is she doing?
The same.
Okay.
She's thriving. Oh, and she pulls out a rice ball for you.
Choyu takes it and eats it. I haven't eaten all day. I don't say that out loud, but Choyu has not eaten all day, so they're They're like, food from home. Mm. They have a rocky relationship with their parents, but I will eat their food. Um,
Wow, metaphor for real life.
um,
um,
stop putting funny stuff in our chat.
I refused. For the record, folks, I put when people were talking about Choyu's mom, I put in chat, Choyu's mom, 50, thrifty, and thriving. Carry on.
Too funny. And I just I look like, first of all, in the 5 years that have passed, Choyu has gone through basically second puberty. I now have facial hair, and I'm a lot stockier than what you remember, because when you left, I was kind of lanky and awkward. We're drinking again. And yeah, I've basically like really filled out my frame, and all I'm wearing right now is like some silk robe over because I probably like took my stuff off to train with Choza, and then when the I was gonna say doorbell, when someone knocked at my apartment, I just put that same robe back on. But yeah, I look like a complete mess right now. And I'm like subconsciously like trying to like straighten myself out. I'm like nervous, and I don't know. I look a little bit frantic right now.
Yeah. Satya definitely sees and just kind of puts a hand on you, and it's just me. It's okay.
What? How? I didn't even know you were leaving when you left, and then you were gone, and then I didn't hear from you at all. I didn't know where you went. Where did you go?
What are you talking about?
Dacha?
I'm fine, G.
No, there's something wrong.
What's wrong?
I look over too.
There's no one on the street. I'm gonna open the door and look out. If I don't know if this is jumping the gun a little bit, but under defended maneuver, can I do ready, like to prepare myself for something? It's okay if this is jumping the gun. I don't have to do it.
No. Here's the thing about. Give me a second. There we go.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay. I was getting into a loop. The thing about combat is you can go ahead and do a defend maneuver right now. That's not jumping the gun. That's you making a choice, just like you would a skill. Because this system is great and doesn't deal with initiative, which is a bullshit mechanic that should die. So yeah, feel free to ready in action. So mark 1 fatigue to ready yourself in your environment. Yep.
Heck yeah, I'm readying myself, and I am opening the door and stepping out to see, like, I'm further investigating why the street is empty. I have an idea, and I don't like it, so I'm trying to prove myself wrong.
What are you assigning? So it says assign a fictionally appropriate status to nearby foes, which who knows if there are any, or yourself. So, for example,
you probably want to give one of the positive ones to yourself.
And it's where are those? I'm sorry.
Well, if I can only type 1D instead of the 3 that I was
the choices
doing.
are empowered,
Page 20.
Favored, inspired, or prepared.
Yes, thank you, Jay.
Got it. Okay.
I might say prepared is probably
yeah. I'm leaning.
Prepared.
I'm gonna be prepared. Yeah, I'll assign myself prepared.
Cool, good stuff.
Can I look out the window and see what the hap is fucking?
Yeah, you can see what the hap is fucking out the window as well. And as
this is the city I call home. I feel like being an earthbender and all that. Like, do I feel anything? Like, you know?
Well, you feel the lack of footsteps, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, as you go up to the window, you see the streets are empty. And I imagine both you and Ji Young do the look about on the streets, and then, like, not seeing anything, you raise your sights a little bit. And all along every single roof surrounding the entirety of this apartment are palace guardsmen.
Ah, fuck.
I step right back in and shut the door. All right.
And at that moment, you just, all right, door closed. Like something breaks against it.
She like doesn't flinch and continues. She's like walking forward. She pulls under her like that sash that she has tied around like a belt underneath that. I didn't okay this with you. I just realized. But she has her weapon under there. It's this thing. It's called a meteor hammer. It's like a long chain with like a heavy piece
Hell
of
yeah.
metal at the end.
Oh, that's so sexy.
So she's like pulling that. She basically like keeps it wrapped around her like a belt and then covers it with the sash. So she's just yanking that out. And she's like, all right, are there back doors? How do we get out of here?
And I think like upon seeing that it's the palace guard, I just turn around and look at Satya, and I look I think I say fuck. And then I'm like,
Avatar says fuck.
and then I just heave a sigh and sit down again, and I'm like, I put a hand out to G to just tell her that it's okay, and I just say, it's my mom. She found me.
She probably followed us. I'm sorry, Shayu. We tried
I blame
to.
you, and
son
like
of
I'm not mad, but I'm pointing at you. And I blame you.
Those fucking people who are following us. I thought we lost them.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, they followed.
I know that. Okay, I know that you are all right with this. I'm not all right with this. I don't. It may be your mother. It may not be. I don't like that they threw something. I would like to leave. I think we should go.
Yeah, there's the back entrance, but hang on, they just want me, and I'm
Gina's
gonna
very uncomfortable with this, but
stand
we're
up
moving.
and push past you and just say it's all right. It's all right, and I'm gonna open the door and just like
I'm behind them.
just
right now.
like really awkwardly wave at all of them like, hi,
Yeah.
you found me.
You see two people you recognize, a very relatively short man and a very tall woman, who are now in their palace guard outfits and no longer in the street clothes. You know them as Kova and Pella. And Kova, the large woman, just sort of, "Are you to do this the hard way or the easy way this time?"
At this point, Satya will shimmy in between and kind of just put a hand.
Also, you, Junsho and Shoza, will hear that shout. It's very easily heard through the area.
Shoza immediately comes into the main room. Who's yelling?
What's
We're surrounded.
happening?
Come here,
It's
come here,
okay.
come here.
It's okay.
Satya puts a hand on Choyu's chest, and she's like, "We're just catching up. Can you just tell her we're catching up? We can do this another time."
She said immediately.
I'm gonna shout back, can the easy way include like 20 minutes to shower?
And you see Kova and Pella just like look at each other. Actually, let's play it out this way. Do the roll. Let's do a roll here.
What roll? Am I rolling to shower? Let's do it.
Not that.
Roll for how?
Roll low, you're gonna smell bad, even though you showered.
Roll me a plead. You're pleading with someone, so roll me a plead.
I am. This is my first roll. I haven't rolled in this game yet.
Hey, there you go. Roll with harmony here.
Roll harmony.
Yeah.
Which is decent for me. Hang on. Okay, so I roll harmony. So that is a +1 for me.
There you go.
Okay. 8.
Okay.
8, my lucky number.
Thank you.
They sort of like look at one another. She really insisted it be this moment. Can you
Just and
give
I'm
us
just
a
gonna,
reason?
I'm gonna gesture at all
Meet us-
of me.
Meet us
I'm gonna-
halfway. 10,
I'm gesturing at all of me, and I'm like, I will be as fast as I can. Please, and I'm waving my hands at like all the other guards, like just to tell them
They're all stanced up. Like they're all just right there, like rocks hovering.
like
It's a precaution. You know how we've done this dance before. Can you promise no more than 15?
Fine. And here, let's do this.
Always an and. What?
No, this is a positive and for you. This. Do you want to hear it or not?
They look both at each other again. What is it?
You two can come in and sit here. You can sit here while I shower so that you know I'm not going anywhere. Choyu looks like so like so annoyed, but they're just trying to like
And you see them just like do the no foot, no movement, like anime turn. And then the no foot movement, anime turn back out, like still stands up. They go, fine. Both just do a flip off of the roof that they're standing on and walk into the apartment and sit down on the couch that's there, like immediately.
Yep, and I'm gonna gesture to them and then look at Junsho, Shodzu, Satya, and G, everyone in here, and I'm just like, this is Kova and Pella, my mom's guards.
Kind of small.
Fathers, but it's a technicality. Don't talk back. Bella's just like shoving a rib into her, like not even side, but more like waist. Just shh. Why? It's the truth.
G is standing opposite them, still kind of near the door, just staring. Like it's not a glare, it's just completely just not breaking.
Yep. G's just got him clocked and like, yep.
Please excuse me. And I look at Satya and I'm like, please excuse me. And I go to go take a fucking shower.
Do we want to jump cut to 14 and a half minutes later?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do that jump cut. Do we want to just cut to the palace, or would anyone like to do something in between?
What's the montage of while I'm like frantically showering? What is everyone
Satya
else
has
doing?
taken up a stance next to G. In her bracer, she takes out 2 daggers and is just standing there, menacingly but sweetly at the same time. Just like, don't fuck things up and you'll be fine too.
I think
she doesn't know these people.
That's fair. I think it's an instance of like Kova and Pela like looking at G, and it's just like, and he looks at me, and like G looking back, and I look at him, and they move their face towards Satya, and he looks at me, and Satya's just like stands up looking at me, and I look at him, and then they look over to Shoza.
It's just
and he looks at me.
No, it's just a smash cut to Shoza doing bicep curls with Xiaolong. Yeah, this is basically how you do it.
Oh my god!
So, yeah.
And then look at him.
What's Junsho doing?
Junsho's like inner monologue was as if this day could not get worse. And it's just like so Junsho has a problem with authority, basically, because of how Shoza and she grew up. Our dad's military, and so she's just like, cool, bye, and like turns back around and goes into the kitchen and continues making herself tea and like snacks and that whole thing, and ignores this scene of tension in the living area. So it's not for her. She's like, whatever.
And just shows it trying to like make everything better with bicep curls.
Yeah.
14
minutes and 47 seconds later, Choyu emerges from.
Sorry, just super fast. Like somewhere in between all of this, G is just gonna really quickly lean over to Satya and say, "You cool with this? Go into the palace again in this manner."
I'm not gonna leave them with her alone.
Okay. And then carry on.
And
So
14 minutes and 52 seconds later, there we go.
yes, Choyu emerges, and they have cleaned up considerably. They smell nice. They have put their hair up in this sort of like basically what I styled my wig. It's like a half up with a bun, and then the rest of the hair is in the back, and then I got like my little tendrils in the front. And
My
I have
little
put on
tendrils.
I've put on nicer clothes than what Junsho and Shodzo have probably ever seen me wear. Which is what I'm wearing. I got a new outfit, everybody.
Hey.
And it's like this orange, like a dusty, like very earthy orange, like tunic, and I'm wearing like light colored pants under it. I don't have my dark eye makeup. I have done like red with like blue, like eyeliner kind of look. And yeah, I just look very nice. But it's kind of like a frantic kind of nice. Like this outfit has not been worn in forever because this outfit's been here. I didn't take it on the ship with me at all, so it's just like all new. Or not new, it's not new clothes, but it's clean pressed linens, etc.
Junsho comes out of the kitchen like with a cup of tea, hands the sandwich to Shoza, and looks at Chio and is like, "Oh, you look nice," and like continues drinking her tea and eating her meal.
As you both come out, that's when Shoza finally puts Xiaolong down. Oh yeah, and so that's basically how you do it. Ooh, sandwich.
When Shoyu comes out, like almost imperceptibly, when G sees them, her eyes get a little bit wide, and then she like goes back to trying to be scary.
I forgot, I have a different colored shawl.
Hey, there we go. Kova and Pela are super undeterred by like the intensity. They're just like, yeah, this is happening.
I look out the window. Are all the guards still there?
Oh, they're still all there. They have not moved an inch. They are still holding rocks aimed at the building. They never got the stand down, so they've been standing there for 15 minutes. Some of them are like breaking a sweat. Like
They're concentrating.
Shoza looking out the window for the first time. Whoa, we got guys out here. Do you know about
They're
this?
my parents' guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of disgust when I say that. And I look at Kova and Pella, and I like jokingly like put my wrists out like, well, take me in chains.
She takes a step forward when they do that, but like
if
stops.
you promise you're coming with us, we won't put the mangles on.
Would you really take me to the palace in chains, though? Come on, guys.
They both look at each other. And like it's at this point a montage occurs of all of the times Choyu has skipped out on various formal events, jumping out of a window and sliding down on a chute, with Kova and Pela in a cart behind them trying to catch up, like them being thrown off a mountainside and then clinging to life by Choyu. Like just every incident like flashes in gigantic
from
montage.
Our childhood.
From your childhood.
Is
Satya's
Satya
there at one
is Satya
point.
there with me?
Yeah,
like the two of us are just
the two of you are like swinging on a rope, and like Kova and Pela are like falling into water, and like the two of you are laughing, and Kova and Pela are like, Kova stands up and water is like here, and like just arm reaches up with Pela and he looks the same face, and they both break that tension stare, and they're like, no, 100% we would. No questions asked. Is that going to be one of these instances?
No.
Cool. And they both just stand up and begin strutting outside.
Yep. And before I think we follow, I'm just going to look at everyone and I'm like, I gotta go talk to my mom, I guess.
You're going to the palace?
Yeah.
We're going with you.
Can I come?
Yeah, sure.
Do I need to change my clothes?
No. I have to change my clothes, but you're fine.
It's that instance of you're going over to a friend's house and they're like, My parents want me to look good. You can come in the baggy sweats with the hole. I don't care. I have to look good.
My mom will be so worried if I show up looking like how I've been.
Shoza is going to whisper to June, like, I mean, should we really be going in like a palace? Seems kind of like, I mean, we might get in trouble or something. I break
would
a
we
lot of
get in
stuff,
trouble?
So, well, what if I break something? I don't want to break anything.
Just don't touch anything.
Well,
Shoza,
I mean,
I want to go to the palace.
okay, fine, all right, I get it. You've had like a bad day. We'll go to the palace. Maybe I'll be good. Did I show you my sword?
And I think then we'll jump cut to
Yeah.
the procession headed towards the palace. The streets of Omashu have been cleared. There are earthbenders. Every single roof from the direct road from Choyu's house to the palace. Like the army has been called in. There are 2 airships marked with the sigil of Omashu above the roads going in different directions. Like the entire fucking force of the city has been mobilized, and the entire column of earthbenders escorting you, it's 20 deep on either side, with Kova and Pela up front and then an echelon of 5 in back. It's just all walking in a train, and they've all got like shields in front of them holding like rocks. Like anybody who tries to walk out onto the main street is just like shoved back, and it's like, back off, and like people are like, oh, like
I cannot describe Choyu's facial expression other than extreme embarrassment. They hate this.
He
Because
looks
this-
so upset about all of this.
Yeah. The city probably hasn't seen me in a while either.
No.
Because when I have left the palace, I am in disguise or what have you. Like I don't like drawing a lot of attention to myself, and I am not having fun.
And from some of the people who are like hiding in alleyways, not getting too close enough to be like lambasted by the guards, you just hear from the crowd, hey, does that show you? Wait, is that the queen, the king, the queen? No, the heir returned? And then you just hear a couple more voices. Is that Satya? The patrol? What's going on? What's happening? Is a marriage? And like just murmurs and whispers the entire street up and down.
If Satya hears her name, she will glare in the direction.
You see this group of like middle-aged women who are very doing the hand thing to one another, like catch your eye, and they do the avatar like scuttle back like 40 feet immediately in there and like are gone.
She tracks wherever she's glaring and also glares.
Yeah.
And like one of them who'd hung around like turns and leaves as well after that second look.
And I think my eelhound is just following, and
Oh yeah.
is mirroring my rather mopey reluctance, and is just like following like she's just so dramatic. She's acting like she's been taken prisoner, and it's just like whining and like, you know, just like the whole way. I think there's like a shot of Choyu like instinctively reaching for Satya, but they stop themselves and pull their hand back, and they're like their hands are just clasped in front of them, and they're just keep walking.
Do I
Fair
notice
enough.
this?
Do you notice this?
You can choose to notice or not.
I
She
mean,
notices.
there's such a familiarity, and like we spent every day together for like almost 18 years.
I
So-
think you'd recognize it. Yeah.
Okay. So if I see that, I will grab your hand.
Aw, okay. Then yeah, I'll take your hand, and I just like you can feel me shaking. Like my hands are shaking. I hate the attention more than anything is what I am anxious about.
And I'll try to
Pretty
like
much.
nod my head to G to come stand on the other side of you as well. And instead of guarding me for a second, to guard you. Just make
He
you
does
feel
that.
like you're in a bubble of protection
She does
and
that.
support.
Cool. making your way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and you're
All right.
homebound.
Thank you.
You make it up. You make it up the steps of the palace, and you want to know who else notices the hand pulled? Your mother. And she immediately just like was standing there with arms wide open, and it's been a very musical episode. I'm not sorry for it.
There's only so much I could take.
She, having stood there and was expecting to greet you, she does the informal thing again and just glides on the earth down to enrapture both you and Satya in a large, big hug.
And
You
the
kinda
first thing
dodge
I
it.
say to her after saying, "Hi, Mama," is, "Why?" And I kind of like jerk my head. I'm assuming she's pinned my arms, but I like jerk my head at like all of this, and I'm like, "Why?"
And she just very like takes her arm off of Satya and like takes you at arm's length. It was for your protection. I didn't want to take any chances. I know the war is over and things are normal now, but you can never be too safe. And she gestures and we zoom out to the city with like the streets now being cleared and like the various barracks going back to their various holdings and the two airships going back to like hang around the front of the palace as support necessary.
I think I just tell her, "You can lift the lockdown, Ma."
Do you really think it's that safe?
I'm here. Isn't that what you wanted?
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I just care a lot about you and your safety. That's all. Call off the airships! And you just see the two airships begin to like turn slowly as they maneuver away from the palace.
This is I gesture behind to Junsho and Shotsu. I'm like, "These are my companions, my friends." Because I'm avoiding the word like crew, pirates, like any of that. These are my friends. These are my coworkers.
Junsho bows and then like nudges Shoza in the ribs.
What? Don't hit me.
Pow! You need to bow.
We got
She
bow.
bows.
Oh, Joseph bows. Hi, we're the pirates.
What?
It's a nickname. It's a nickname. My sibling here, we are called the Pirates. Because we
Joseph's looking at you.
They
just like,
steal my heart.
have
They
a
steal hearts.
parrot.
Yep.
Just see ... Would you all like some tea?
Ooh.
We
You
would
guys do
love
the
some
strong
tea.
stuff,
Shoyu's
though?
trying to get off the front steps of the palace where people can still stare at them.
There's a large crowd assembling at the barricade with the Earth Kingdom guards here. Yes. And at that, she sweeps arm around you and just like guides you up the steps. Your father has been so worried. Oh, come. Of course, your friends. And you should talk to him at some point just to allay his fears.
I as she's like ushering me away, I like shoot a glance over my shoulder back at Satya and I mouth, "Help me."
I will
Yes.
follow. I'm like, we're not holding hands anymore, but I'm right there.
She's behind Satya.
Yeah.
For sure.
Little train.
little choo-choo train of family reunionizing going on. And she takes you not to the same tea room that you were taken to, Ji-young and Satya, but to the right this time. And she again, with one gesture, bends a wall down into the floor. And if you thought that room was quaint and very cozy and nice, this room is like a full dining table with centerpieces and ornamentation and like gold inlaid on the wall in beautiful flowery formations and Earth Kingdom insignias and badger moles and shoes and like all sorts of things. She's like, how about we dine in here?
Shoyu's like I don't know how to describe the anime trope, but Shoyu's got like the red just
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
Their face has been reduced to like the eyes and the mouth, and then just red blush.
The squinty, like no expression face of just.
Junsho
Yeah.
looks at Shoza and whispers like, "Hey, you know how what Mom would tell us when Grandma was going to visit about
Oh, grandma.
best manners,
Ugh.
chew slowly,
Ugh.
don't be rude." And
Immediately, a waiter walks by with a platter of just very carefully, finely stacked rice balls.
and wait until we sit down to eat, and also don't talk with your mouth full, and actually why don't you just not talk?
What? Did you see the...
She like reaches up and grabs your face and says, "Don't talk. Just eat and drink your tea. And don't say anything unless somebody asks you a direct question. And then you look at me and I will answer it."
Okay, that's fine. I
Okay.
like that.
Okay. And she like pats your cheeks and then waits for the queen to let us know where to sit.
Shoza is just watching this waiter with the rice cakes. Just
They very much take up a position sort of behind you, and a couple other waiters are like walking in with similar platters. And the queen takes the head of the table and guides Choyu to her right hand and gestures for Satya to take the left hand, right? And the moment she gestures for that left hand, all of the very earthen clay chairs at the entire table all scoot out automatically, including hers. And she does a gesture. "Please take a seat."
In the most begrudging way possible, I take my spot next to my mom.
Perfect.
Junsho like grabs the back of Shoza's shirt so that they can't like sit down before everyone else has found their seats.
Fair.
G's
Gee, where are you sitting? Yeah.
G's gonna stand. G's gonna stand behind Satya.
Okay.
Like foregoing the friend traveling and going full like I am here to be a bodyguard sort of like mode.
And then once everyone else is settled, Junsho sits where she thinks is appropriate and then points to the seat next to her for Shoza.
Shoza sits down and is still just staring at those rice cakes.
And she does another small gesture, and all of the chairs whip in slightly towards the table. Yes.
Ooh.
Hey, Shoza, I want to play with this. Let's play in this space, you and me.
Oh, let's play in the space.
Yeah, let's play.
Throw me the ball, Riley. Let's go.
Yeah, let's have this moment. Assess the situation, please.
Ooh, I can do that. Oh, I might put a little mustard on this.
Yeah, you want to put a little mustard?
I might just put put a little mustard on this ball real quick because Shoza does have so no one panic when I say the name of this move because it's not necessarily how I'm going to use it. They do have a move called Punch Where It Matters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when you assess a situation, you can always ask who or what here is most vulnerable to me, even on a miss. So rather than assess the situation, I want to use Punch Where It Matters just to know what's like most breakable to Shoza here to avoid it. Yeah.
Okay. Got
Are
it.
you nervous? Okay.
I comprende dende your movado. Okay.
What do I add to it? It counts as just regular assess the situation. So what?
Right. Yeah. What does assess add again?
Creativity.
Then roll with creativity.
Okay, so what's my creativity? Plus
How
1. I got an 8.
8. Perfectamundo. asking the question, what is most vulnerable to me?
The rice cakes.
It's true.
There is a beautiful, ornate centerpiece in the middle of this
Oh,
that looks like
lovely.
it looks like it's a large vase that's
Mhm.
holding stemmed leaves. Except upon further investigation, two things about this are different. One, the vase is itself see-through and itself is composed of these vines. And those vines are petrified plants woven into a beautiful, intricate, delicate vase seated at the center with just gorgeous line work, making it seem like a completely organic thing. But it's just so delicate and its tendrils are just so, you can tell a lot of time was put into earth bending this petrified wood into a beautiful centerpiece for the table.
Oh no.
Delicious.
You also
go for it.
You see the rice balls. You smell them. They're there. They're there. Just two seats down. But you get, what is that? What is that delectable? It's across the table. It's behind Satya, a waiter, standing with a platter of. Have you ever been to there's a specific pastry that I want to evoke. It is essentially a sausage or a hot dog that has been baked into the center of a croissant.
Yeah,
not
pigs
a
in a
croissant,
blanket.
but it's more than that, and it has filling with it as well.
Like a stuffed hot dog
There's
inside
this
of a croissant.
there's this place
Yes.
that closed, but they there's this place that made these things where they put Chinese sausage inside of an avocado and then they all this stuff and then they covered it and deep fried it, covered it in panko and deep fried it, and then they put spicy mayo on it. And it was so good. And that's what you're making me think of right now.
Yes, if you've ever been to the 85°C bakery, they have these, and it's essentially a sausage stuffed into a savory roll with fillings that have been baked and semi-fried as well.
I would like to remind everybody that Shoza and I are twins. And though we are so different, there is one thing we have very much in common. And so I also catch that scent, and I'm just like, Oh no.
Shoza is squirming in their seat.
Super valid. And as this is going on, another set of waiters are bringing in a tea set and setting everything to pace. And your mother turns to you and says, "So how long will you be staying at the palace?"
Hot.
Just ignores it. Eyes for only show you.
I look over at Satya from across the table, and then I look over at my mom, and I'm just like, I was just back for some repairs. It was just gonna be a couple days, Ma.
Repairs?
The
What was damaged? What went wrong?
No, nothing went wrong. Nothing, and you can hear the little bit of pause in Choyu's voice, but they said nothing went wrong. Our ship just needs some repairs. It's in the dry docks right now, and it was just gonna be a couple more days. I didn't think to. I didn't want to disturb you.
Did someone hurt you? Not hurt, but are you okay?
I'm fine, Mom.
I think
And
they're
she-
just shocked at seeing me after so long. It's been we haven't had much time to catch up.
She does an eye between Satya and eyes back to Choyu, and she very dignifiedly puts a hand up and says, did she break off the betrothal? And like those words like just come out of her lips with like a poisonous tinge to them.
Jinsho looks at Shoza like, and like mouths the words betrothal. That means they are engaged to be married.
Did you see those hot dog things?
Head empty, only pigs in a blanket.
Priorities. Head empty, only lift heavy thing, eat good food.
All she does is eat hot dog and lie. Oh God.
Oh my
Does
God,
G
okay.
know that they're engaged?
Yes.
Okay.
I think at this point the gears are finally clicking in Choyu's brain because they're like, I want my goal right now is to get my mom to stop asking me questions. And the thing
The goal
that
of every child.
Yes. The something my mom is very interested in is this betrothal. And so my thought is that maybe she'll stop asking about where I've been and why our ship crashed. Because she probably heard from she could probably find out from informants that like this ship was brought in with a massive like hole in the hull and all this other stuff. So I want her to not even think about that. So I am focusing on this betrothal thing.
That strategic subject change. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I just look at her when she's like, did she cancel it? And immediately like there's a little bit of panic in Shoyu's eyes too, because they it's been a long time and they kind of assume that this whole arrangement was off because it's been like they up and left in the middle of the night pretty much, and so they had assumed that no longer interested in that
Contacting me now.
and but they just say no she didn't know.
Oh, wonderful. And she just gives Satya like a very loving and approving glance.
What's for dinner? And I'm like seeing the twins like salivating. I'm like, oh, what's for dinner, Ma?
Jay,
What is for
your
dinner?
What is your favorite traditional dish?
Are you asking me, the player? Because I have food.
Yeah. Let's ask you, the player. Yeah.
Because I'm giving Choyu all my favorite foods. We
Yeah.
are the same person.
Yeah. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm down.
My grandma makes a lot of really good food, but one of my favorite dishes that she makes is this thing called chaofun, which is like wide rice noodles with like a bean paste kind of sauce. And typically it's served with meat, but me, the player, doesn't eat meat, so she'll make it without the meat. But this one has meat because Choyu eats meat. But chaofun, it also typically has vegetables in it too. Typically served with bean sprouts, a bunch of other stuff that I pick out of it. Literally all the player, like is the noodles.
They're good noodles. They're so
really good noodles. And
Yeah.
then dumplings, of course. And I also like this thing called mabu tofu that my grandma also makes, which is tofu with peppers. And also, again, usually has meat, but I don't have it with meat. And I like, I think I'll get one last dish for appetizers. You get them at dim sum restaurants. It's these like sesame balls stuffed with like black bean paste inside of them. And they're so good. Oh, and the shrimp chips that stick to your tongue. I like those.
Yes.
Shrimp chips are good.
And your mom just says, well, your favorites, of course. And all of those come out at first with the appetizers, and then, the beef chow fun with like pork belly added on as like an extra thing is layered on there as well. and everything arrives at the table. You can see there's little heaters underneath each of the like central dishes, the main dishes and courses. And everyone's brought a small appetizer plate as well, and like laid down before everybody.
Cool. Cool.
This is making me so hungry.
Yeah, I'm so hungry. The last thing, I think there's like not just like one kind of dumpling. I think they do like a dumpling tasting platter where they everyone gets a platter of all these dumplings that all look very different. They're all made with very different things.
A dumpling flight, if you will.
Yeah, it's a flight of dumplings, you know.
Yeah.
They're served literally on the long thing like a beer flight would, you know, but it's dumplings. I think, and this is literally from experience, I went, when I went back to China, we had like the same exact like dumpling thing. And the very last one they gave us was a dumpling. It was a duck dumpling, like with duck in it. But it was shaped like a duck. They folded it like a little duck, and it even had like a little, like little eyes and everything.
Is it a turtle duck dumpling?
No. It is just duck. It is just duck. It is mysterious meat of the Avatar world.
This is a complete aside, but I'm going to also include in the dumplings, there's a place near me where I live that does dim sum dumplings in the shape of a pear. And
cool.
They're so cool looking. Complete
Everybody
aside,
gets to contribute a dumpling to this dumpling.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all so hungry.
as the food is coming out and they're being set in front of them, Junsho like takes a deep breath because she's trying to have her best manners, and she like Shoza eats like just a mess, and so she's going to like grab Shoza's hand so that they can't like feed themselves with both hands, so that Shoza can only feed themselves with one hand. And so it's just like you see this like tension where like her shoulder, like her arm is starting to shake from holding their hand down.
Riley, what's the status on our pigs in a blanket gentleman over there? What's he doing? Did he bring them to the table?
He's not been mobilized from his position.
No.
I know.
Shoza putting a full dumpling in their mouth is just looking at this guy. Just
I think we've got like chopsticks and crap at this table. I think like I pick up the chopsticks because I think at some point Nimbia has tried to teach you, Shoza, how to use chopsticks.
Oh, 100%.
Can you use chopsticks?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So I think Choyu just like picks up a dumpling with chopsticks and like looks at you as if to prompt you, like, "Oh, here's the chopsticks."
Shoza's like,
just to like a little reminder.
I see where you're going with this. And then they take the chopsticks and they gesture forward at the guy across the table from them, kind of pointing at them. A bit of those, and definitely just hits this vase full of petrified wood. Oh
no, the centerpiece.
You see Choyu's mom like look at it, and she just very like looks at you. You know, it took me approximately a whole fortnight of just weaving that together. But I'm sure I'll find another fortnight here soon. Don't worry about it. And then immediately turns to look at Ji Young. And speaking of my soon-to-be daughter-in-law, when did you take up guarding, Satya?
Almost 5 years ago now.
Oh, and you're under the payment of whom? And like just takes a dumpling.
I look at Satya. Are you muted?
My father.
Oh. And she just like goes through that entire roller coaster of acceptance emotions and then very kindly nods at you and then turns back to Choyu. Speaking of fathers, should we go and visit yours now while your friends continue? And like looks down at Shoza and Gensho pointedly.
Shoza's just using their hands to sweep up the glass on the table into a pile.
Did we not want to finish dinner first?
Oh, I'm certain. Or I shouldn't assume. Would you like to finish dinner first, Choyu?
Yes.
All right.
And I stop again and I'm like, I will talk to Dad. I will not leave before I talk to Dad, I promise.
And you can see the two guards at the end of the room, Kova and Pella, just like visibly relax and like sort of scoot back around the corner when that's said. Oh, I'm so relieved to hear that. It's just been
Shoot
we
them a
missed
look.
you.
As they're leaving, I'm shooting them a look like,
Yeah.
we don't like those guys. Satya and I, we don't like those guys at all.
That's fair.
And when you say that, Satya will kind of catch your eyes as if like, do you want me to come with you? Or
I think I do a little shake of the head like I need to just talk to him by myself.
Do we want to cut through dinner now that we've had sort of like the fun interactions and sort of go to that scene now? Does that feel appropriate to everyone?
Yeah, I
Okay.
broke what I needed to break. So
Cool. I did want to get that in. Like I put the gun there. You needed to pull the trigger.
yeah, I got you,
okay.
Chekhov.
Cool. So then we'll cut to, it's not much later in the evening, but to the point where the sun has set, but its glow and the warmth of day has not quite receded in the sky. And it's a room past the throne room with 3 chairs. The father's chair, who is empty, the mother's chair that's slightly lower, and a chair which looks like it has been kept perfectly without dust for many, many years, which would be Choyu's. And walking with your mother, you go to your parents' bedroom, which has a beautiful look out to the north, across the valleys, and you can see the river and the forest, and even where parts of the desert begin, over to the northeast. And laying on a recliner bed out on the balcony is an outline you're very familiar with. And your mother, did Satya come with? I just want to double check. Okay, got it. Your mother sort of gives you that back prompt, like the little pat on your shoulders. Nothing too aggressive, just a pat and then a shoulder squeeze. Just a little one.
And I will walk. I have my hands clasped behind my back. I walk out to the balcony and I open the slidey door thing and I shut it behind me and I like lift my hand just to make myself like a little like chair stool thing at like the bedside. And I sigh and look at my dad. How is he doing?
Well, you can see the scars on his hands have healed pretty well. His breathing is very relaxed. It's very relaxed but labored. Every so often you hear just like a catch-up. And you see that his eyes are barely open as he just sort of looks northward, taking in the scene.
Hey, Ba.
His eyes just sort of open just a little bit more. He looks over. And he very carefully begins adjusting himself and pushes himself up to a half squatting position off of where he's laying and sort of like reaches out a hand for support.
Yeah, I offer him that.
He'll take your shoulder and adjust up and just we'll put a hand there.
Is he squatting? What is he doing?
He had been laying on sort of a recliner couch, like
Okay.
one of those couches that had
Like a
you can
chaise.
sort of yes, exactly. And now in a more upright and sitting position, you can sort of hear him better. You can sort of hear that his lungs are not taking very deep breaths, and he just sort of puts a hand on your shoulder, and you can feel it's not as good of a grip as you remember. It's just very mostly just set on there. But there's a squeeze.
Can
Yeah.
I like airbend him like a chair that's more upright so that he's more comfortable?
Earthbend? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I just like change the couch around.
Yep. You
Give
just
him
sort
that
of
back support that he needs. Yeah.
yeah, you bend the couch into a better sense. And this looks like your mom's handiwork. It looks like it's been made out of the floor. So you just bend her work into your work and give an upright sort of like love seat to the both of you, I would imagine, so that he can get some better support.
Mhm.
And he just sort of shifts his hand along your left shoulder to your right shoulder, and then just leans his head on your shoulder.
How have you been?
And when you ask that, your mom just comes up and sort of puts a hand on your right shoulder as well. She says, he stopped talking. It's been a few months. I know that you have your reservations about your inheritance and your duties and your responsibilities. It's coming to the time where we need you to step into those. I know what you're going to say, but, and she's just dropped all affectation and like royalty. This is just her speaking very plainly and personally. She just says, I know what you're going to say. I have tried to just let you run it out of your system. You know, your father was much the same way when he was young. Sometimes you just need to go in the world and be someone you're not, and just live a life that nobody knows you, and you can make of it what you want. And I want to be accommodating of that for you. It's coming to the point that I can't.
What? I just. And like they like any sort of like posture whatnot that Choyu had put on to face this conversation that they knew was coming, which is why they didn't want to come home. They just like completely deflate their posture.
You can feel your dad's hand squeeze a little bit tighter when he feels the shift in your shoulders.
I know this isn't what you want to hear, and I'm really, really sorry for just leaving. But I can't do this. And I like literally gesture at the land out before us, like, you expect me to be protector and guide and rebuild everything. After everything we've been through, I don't feel ready. And I know that we're running out of time, but I'm not ready.
All right. But I need your help. There are certain things going on in the area that I have not been able to address with your father in the state that he's in. I haven't been able to go out and do what I need to do as a regent, as someone who is trying to reclaim this land for us, for our people, and what we need.
To rebuild, yeah.
I understand when you say you're not ready for it. I wasn't either. I'm still unsure if I ever will be, but we don't choose when we're needed in time. And I understand that you do not feel you're there. I understand. I won't argue with it. But please, if you could just help me. I'm not asking you to stay in Amashu. That's off the table. It's a mother's wish. But it's fine, okay? I won't ask that of you.
I can help you. If
Yeah.
that will help lighten your load, I want to help.
I just have been really worried about you.
There's nothing to be worried about.
You say that, but then I don't know.
I'm fine. And when they say that, it sounds incredibly pained. Like yeah, those words sound very forced.
All right. How about I get your father to bed and we can talk about it in the morning, okay?
Can my friends stay here?
Of course, sweetheart. No, I would never turn your friends on the street. I'll make accommodations. I'll build the rooms myself if I have to.
No, you rest. I can do it. It's,
Are you sure?
yeah. Rest.
Okay. There's just been a lot going on, and she just she just throws a big hug around you. Like, she just throws a big hug.
I think like Choyu wasn't even meaning to do it, but there's just like a couple stray tears coming down that they didn't even think they were crying, but they just escape out.
Okay. And she will just, they'll have that hug, parents, child, that family feeling of being together after a long time. And then she'll just sort of come back to her old self. All right, I'll make up a list of a couple of things. There's been some problems in a village nearby, near where the Cave of Two Lovers is. There's been some issues at the Serpent's Pass. Oh, and then there's been the poaching of these Shershu. I don't know any reason that anyone would ever want to mess with Shershu. And we pull out.
As she's like returning to this, I think I like give my dad's hand another squeeze, and I stand up, and I think the two of us are just walking out, and she's like listing off all these things, and I still look very nervous, but I'm walking with her.
And as you're walking with her and taking your father's hand and leading him away, you just hear her say, smelly, stinky, poisonous even. It makes me bristle. I just do not understand it. And we zoom out from that balcony scene, and we see Omashu from a great height. And we turn south towards the coast, southwest. We zoom to there, to an old, ancient fortress, now in relative disrepair, but with a lot of folks moving around. Folks in blue and black tunics, dark colored. We see dozens of Shirshu, older ones, younger ones, held in cages. And we see in a centralized hut to this area, completely at odds with the architecture, a woman standing over a table. And it looks like a meeting has just commenced. She marks something off of the list and then looks up with the same eyes as Fior. And that is where we will end today's session, folks.
Ah!
So, thank you all for coming to
Uh,
episode 2 of Avatar Reclamation. Thank you to all of our wonderful cast for doing an absolutely amazing job. This was so much fun. We're to go round robin, outro us all again once more, and I'll lead off by just saying, hey, I'm Riley Gritch on Twitter and Twitch. GRYC, that's where you can find me. Didn't mean that to rhyme again, but here we're doing it once again. Yada yada.
It's a pattern now.
It's a pattern now. Maya, do you want to go first?
I just Fior, hello. Sorry, I was just writing all that shit down. Hi, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I cannot wait for next week. I'd like to keep playing right now, please. But we can't.
1 week is so long.
It's too long, I think. My name is Maya. I use she, her pronouns. I am around on the internet, Anxious Maya on Twitter and Twitch. And if you are at all interested in Critical Role, you can find me on Twitter at Critical Memes and on Instagram at Critical Role Memes for very, very bad memes about Critical Role. And I hope everyone here has a lovely rest of the night. I love you all.
I'll go now. Hello. My name is Ellis. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Hekvetica, HEKVETICA. Today I have been your destructive Thembo, Shoza. And yeah, I mean, that's about it for me. If you want to, follow me on Twitter if you want to hear about tabletop games and UI UX design, pretty much. Christiana, go for it.
Hi, I'm Christiana, she, her pronouns. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Carpe Christie. I also just post a lot of TTPRG stuff and fawning respectfully over my hot friends there all the time and their art and whatever else cool things that they do. I had so much fun today. I cannot wait another week. I'm sure that we will be in our group chat just talking all the time, but whatever. It's not enough. I want to keep playing.
Christiana and Maya have seen it, but I have art to show the rest of you.
Yeah.
That I'm done.
Jay, go ahead.
Oh, me. Hello, everybody. My name is Jay Nala. I use they, them. You can find me on Twitter at NalaWu, NALAWU. Or if you want to see my artwork, I am a professional tabletop illustrator, character designer, concept artist, etc. And so that Twitter is at NalaDraws. And any other social media that I would have is also at NalaDraws. I've played Choyu, who's got the major backstory dumping here today. It was fun. I had so much fun, and I love... Ah. What else do I even do? Oh, if you want to see my portfolio, that's naladraws.com, and hire me for stuff. I'm also looking for full-time work. Yeah.
All right, and I am Nikki. I'm co-creator here at TRPG. For the rest of January, we have next Sunday, the 23rd, we'll have Dragon Day, which is our charity all-day event for Classical Glyza's birthday. So that'll be 10 a.m. until midnight, and has a lot of really great people, 3 different dragon-themed games, plus 2 mini episodes of our talk show. And then speaking of the talk show, we will have a pre-recorded episode this month, dropping on the last day of the month, which is I want to say the 30th. What day is the last day of the month? So the last Sunday of the month is the 30th. And so we will be having the ladies from Women of D&D, the people who run that account, will be doing a pre-taped show because they are in a different time zone, and it's way too late. Our normal stream time is way too late for them. So we're going to pre-record that episode. There won't be a musical guest, but it will be still a very fun episode, and you should definitely check that out. We'll stream that at 2 p.m. on the 28th. And then coming in February, we have Vampire the Masquerade, which is being run by Dee, and Christiana's in that too, and as well as the rest of the cast from our 10 Candles stream. So definitely check that out. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, follow us on Twitter, join our Discord, hang out. We do community game nights and movie nights and all kinds of fun stuff. So definitely check that out, and everyone have a great rest of your weekend.
See you next week.